Sometimes a loss is just on the field, but the Falcons in this game to the Dolphins were exposed coaching-wise, in the front office, and on the field. All three aspects. Losing this game big time, and Kirk Cousins was not surfing. I know what you guys want to know. I know what you want to hear. 4 years, $180 million. That's how much the Falcons gave Kirk Cousins in March of 2024. That's about 18, 19, 20 months ago. They said, you know what, we're going to give you 4 years, even though you're 36, coming off of a horrific injury that a lot of people don't come back from. Even though you're 35 years old, we think you're that good. And right now, man, I just got to be honest. The worst part about that deal to me is the fact that he is going to be the next 2 years, in 2026 and 2027, he's going to make $35 million per year. They have a potential out in which they can cut him, but that would be $35 million in dead cap. And obviously I'm saying this because he was horrific against the Dolphins. He was awful. My gosh. And I mean, the plan sounded good, right? It really did. If you have two quarterbacks, if you have a backup, we've actually seen it had a sound-ish strategy to it. That, you know what I mean? All right, you keep a backup. If you have those couple games, you win them. This was a game that they definitely needed. They definitely want to have a win. And you want your $27 million backup to come in. The problem is he's cooked. He's just done. He can't hit passes. He's sailing the ball on 3rd and 10 all over the place. He's smoking wide open 3rd and 8s that could change the momentum of the game. Down 10-3. He's out there leaving pockets that are blocked to just run as fast as he can, which isn't that fast now, to the right, and then just throw the ball away. Nothing about the offense had any flow to it last game, and obviously with Michael Penix out with a bone bruise, no Drake London, it was clear that he just got exposed. And I don't even think it's all his fault, because at a certain point in the game, I did look this up, the Dolphins are 11th in passing defense. They fly to the quarterback. They play very good coverage on the back end if you don't run the ball on them. So with that being the case, for that, I can't completely put the blame on him, but not a good game at all for Cousins. And I don't know if you can. Maybe you can give him another week just if Penix is hurt, but I don't know how much more you want to put him out there. I thought it was interesting, too, that at no point of the game did Raheem Morris try the third stringer. I don't even know who he is. Let's see who he is. Because I think that even that would have started a controversy. And we see at this point, he clearly is in his head at the very least, or he's just garbage. But try to give him benefit of the doubt. We'll say he might just be in his head, be at 21 for 31, 173. He's just not throwing the ball. It's part arm strength thing. He can't really get the ball down the field. And you saw that Raheem wasn't going to go, Easton Stick. Forgot Easton Stick, Charger great. Yeah, he can't really go to Easton Stick either. So they're kind of cooked. And you don't really want to bring in another quarterback when you're paying $127 million at this point. So it kind of is what it is. I think that, and obviously we say that that's a GM mistake because they went and they paid him that while also drafting Penix, even though Penix had injury concerns and he's continued to be hurt to this point. Game plan wise, I don't know what they were doing. You see sometimes, so I saw the score like everyone else. I didn't watch the game live, so I saw the score first. You go in with, okay, so hypothetically, right, you think, okay, the Dolphins win 34-10. Well, there had to be a turnover, a couple turnovers. There was a turnover, which we'll get to that, but there has to be maybe a couple of takeaways, like 3. Normally when a team wins by 30, that just isn't good. 3 takeaways. Like the Browns had 3 against the Dolphins, right? And you're thinking maybe kick return, punt return. No, the Falcons just said, you know what? We don't give a shit that Penis isn't playing. We don't care. Even though last week we had this strategy and it was against the 49ers and it just didn't work, where we just said, hey, we have the number one rush offense, but that's not who we want to be. Okay? We want to throw the ball. All right? And we want to do it without London and without our starting quarterback against the 32nd ranked run defense in the league with Bijan Robinson. We just want to give him the ball 9 times. It was ridiculous. And in a game like this is the problem, right? With when, I don't know, you're just overmatched coaching-wise, is, okay, so you can schematically get up some points, boom, 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 boom. When you think you're going to do that and you don't do it, first off, to think you're going to do that with Kirk Cousins at this point is ridiculous. So the Falcons' plan should have been, we have a bad run defense, and we have a backup quarterback. So we should run the ball on this 32nd ranked defense that's also 29th in scoring. So clearly they get worse as they go along. They also are 1-6, very prone to quit. I don't blame them. But you saw against the Browns, they're like, and fairness, this is a dome, not outside, so maybe that's a part of it too for the Dolphins, is the fact that they don't have to deal with the weather. But either way, I'm running the ball on them. I'm limiting the game. I'm trying to get it to a pick, and that's how I'm the Falcons. I'm trying to win. I want them to throw the ball, but I need to kind of shorten the game to do that. They said, no, we're going to score on them. We're going to attack their strength with our weakness. Pretty awful. And even on 3rd and 1, to go out there with Al-Jair and use him instead of Bijan on these downhill runs, awful. Because Bijan, it was 2nd and 7. Bijan gets 6 yards. You're thinking, all right, just use him again, get this first down, start getting some momentum. No, they put Al-Jair in. They go super duper heavy formation, try to run up the middle. I respect kind of-ish the call, but there's no way I'm not putting Bijan in that situation. He's one of the best running backs in the league. Even, I don't know, even if Al-Jair is my downhill runner, I don't really care at that point. Like, I just need Bijan to get me a yard. But that's what they do. Now, okay, so let's say, hypothetically, right, your power run team, that happens. To then, on the next possession, you actually get a stop. It's still 10-3, I believe. You get the ball on your 4 to go Al-Jair again, not give Bijan the ball. You end up losing 3 yards because you get tackled in the backfield because he's not, Bijan, so he's not fast. He's just a downhill runner, except they didn't get the blocks. And then you have to go QB sneak just to get out of there. And then you run Bijan and he gets 5 yards. So that's cool. It's just, it made no sense to go at their strengths. They did it last week. I didn't understand it. They were number 1 in rushing, and they just said, we don't want to do that. We want to throw the ball. And part of the thing about this scheme is it's not just calling a run or a pass. It's they keep... I like the pistol. I like it. I actually wish that my team would run it more. However, you can't be in anything all the time. And they're infatuated with it. And you got to get under center if you're the Falcons. Just get Bijan the ability to go downhill. They just, whenever they're under center, they're like, we like Al-Jair better under center. Okay, but do that later in the game. Early in the game, I need Bijan in because a game like this happens. Suddenly you're down 17-3. Then it gets to 24-3 right after half. And then you're like, I can't run the ball anymore. So now I don't have opportunities to get my best player the football and let him impact the game. Now I got to get him to him in passes. And Bijan is a great receiver. But that's a different also physicality, mentality. And you just saw that strategy allowed the Dolphins to play fast. They were playing fun. They were more physical than the Falcons. That can't happen at home. To the 30-second rush, if you got, and the first drive they did it, they ran it 2 times. If you got to do that 3 times and just run it 6 times, I don't care, considering who the Dolphins are and that you don't have your quarterback. Maybe I didn't like it when they did it with Penix last week. Now, maybe if you do it with Penix, it makes a little more sense, but I would have hated it if Penix was in because they're number 1 in rushing. Well, they were. They're not anymore because they keep not running the football. I think they dropped to 5 and descending. So when that strategy just made no sense because you got a dead man walking coach. You just got to stay in the game. Stay in the game, extend it, and go at their flaws, and they just didn't do it. Defensively, this defense is also I mean, this game, they just got ripped to shreds. I thought that the run defense was decent. The numbers told me they were decent. They were 16th a couple weeks ago, but it has since then been a disaster. Christian McCaffrey ran for 130 on them last week. I think Brian Robinson had a bunch. I think they had 200 rushing yards last week, the 49ers did, because they said we're not going to go at that pass defense. The Dolphins was bad because they had 141 rushing yards on them. So the Dolphins said, all right, that plan you're not going to do, we're going to go at it because your pass defense is number 1. Your run defense is 19th, so we're just going to attack the run. McDaniel actually just, all he did, he probably just watched the film of his old team. Kyle Shanahan was like, bet, I'll just copy and paste it, and that's literally what it looked like, at least on the running game. And it was great. I wouldn't have suggested anything else. They just ran the ball on them. It was easy. A-Chain was getting off, Ollie Gordon, and none of them did anything completely crazy in the run game, but it was just over time just demoralizing. I think A-Chain had 60, Gordon had 40, but they both got touchdowns in the receiving game on the short passes, and it's like at a certain point they just stopped wanting the tackle. They even had this play. It was the ever rare play that I don't like, but the way the game was going, I respected the call, and it worked. They just were running it. Then you get fourth down, 4th and 1, right? And they just go straight up, everyone in the box, run it right up the middle, what you would call, if you play Madden, a goal line offense, 3 tight ends, 2 backs. We're going right down the middle. We're not even going to pretend to fake this. Boom. And they got it. And I was like, that honestly felt like partially the game. I was like, oh, they just took it right to them. And here's the other small thing. It's just one game for the Falcons, right? But at a certain point, maybe teams are adjusting. Maybe it was just the Dolphins. You don't want teams to figure something out on you. But they were cooking them in the pass game, too. A lot of the play action stuff, because they had to, at a certain point, it's like, all right, you get tired of the run. But then the passes were open. Waddle had a big catch on a crosser where he caught it, and then he just takes off for a touchdown. Not great. The touchdown they let up before half, up 10-3, 18 seconds, and Tua just rolls out and he throws it to Malik Washington. Albeit great play, that's a tough touchdown to let up in that situation, especially because they weren't calling any timeouts in that situation because you have Kirk Cousins, so you don't really want the ball at that point. You kind of just want the half to be over. And the Dolphins timed it up perfectly, and to go up 17-3 in that situation was huge. And so they got hit with a couple bombs. Even there was one that was a screen underneath Ollie Gordon, but a perfect screen, and they kept hitting him with that screen. It's a copycat league, so you're going to see a little bit more of that. It's not time to be concerned yet about the pass defense. I still think they're one. I mean, they did it to Josh Allen at the end of the day, and the 49ers seem to be a little scared of him. However, just something to be concerned with. And so for the Falcons, I'm interested to see where they go from this point going forward, because it's been pretty tough. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Please watch some of the other videos on the site. I've created a playlist with each and every football team, and every week we will be going over those games. I'm really loving this, enjoying it, and hoping you guys are as well. Of course, like, subscribe, and if anyone wants to sponsor, we're looking for Lumia Sports Productions is looking for sponsors. Shout us out. We will shout you out during the video. Thank you guys again for watching. Have a great day. Enjoy.